Beautiful people, what is up? Welcome back to episode 122, Sunday Sessions with Rich podcast. If you're new to the show, welcome. I drop episodes every single Sunday. Please like, subscribe, and comment. On today's episode, I have a special guest on today's episode, a fellow Money Mystery School teacher of mine, a great fan of mine now. She is a manifestation energetic biz coach, channel healer, activator. She helps you program your mind, condition your body to reconnect with intuition, and also manifest your best life. Magaly, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here and just kind of like getting into our zone as we've done already and how magical it feels. So now we get to do this on your podcast. So I'm excited. Thank you.
I appreciate you. I gave you like a little mini red carpet, but for those who don't know about you, let us know who you are and what you got going on.
Hello, everyone. My name is Magaly, and I am a manifestation coach, subconscious reprogramming coach, and also healer and energetic business coach. And what I do is I help women basically reprogram their minds to live a whole different life than what they're accustomed to, right? Because they all have desires and they're not achieving their desires. So we have to go into do the spiritual work to understand what's going on, what their soul contracts are, what has led them to today, and then also use that brain work, that subconscious programming work to help them get to that next level so that they can manifest more easily and attract that new dream life that they didn't even know they could have.
Facts. Now I'll have your description and links at the bottom of the episode. When you feel called by this motivating episode, please book a wonderful session. Little story. So a lot of people don't know. We're in a Money Mystery School. We're 2 out of 8 or 7 other amazing teachers. And a good friend of ours, Erin, shout out to Erin. She's been on the show twice. I freaking love Erin if you're listening to this right now. Just create little backstory. Erin, so I met Erin 7 years ago, and we was always talking about creating a school, like a little spiritual school people come to and we're like the Harry Potters of the world kind of situation. And to see it be like an online school and then having you all a part of it too, it's just such an amazing experience. I just want to give you flowers for just being on such an amazing platform that we're creating for everybody.
Thank you. I mean, from the moment I've met the team, I'm just like, yes, my soul team. And even when I met Erin, working with her has been life-changing because all of the shifts have
immediate shifts. It's not even, oh man,
fast, it was nonstop, back to back to back. And it wasn't always sunshine and rainbows.
Oh no,
I tell everybody, I'm no, actually, on the contrary, it was between the moment I knew I was going to work with her, hiring her, then 6 months out, it was every week something new was coming up. Spirit was like, nope, we need you to transform. This is your soul contract, but we also need to show you what needs to change in your life in order for you to meet that container. Of course, not fun.
Not fun at all.
Not fun at all, but definitely I will not. I mean, I don't regret it. I'm just like, yes, give it to me now. I'm like, show me my blogs, show me what I'm doing.
One thing, so you mentioned about helping women, just really help them come to terms with them being worthy of manifesting, experiencing the best life possible. And I'm really finding with not only with myself, I had this deep realization 2 weeks ago. I knew I was self-sabotage in certain situations, not feeling oh wow, I'm actually deserving of this, all this random abundance that's coming so heavily. And then also working with amazing clients and just realizing that's the common denominator. That's really the common denominator, feeling worthy of just living the best life possible. And then, like you said, finding that programming. Did your mom tell you that you aren't shit when you was younger. And then that's altering your adult years, and especially with your relationships and attracting people who mirror your mom. Like, this stuff gets deep.
Oh my gosh, beyond deep. Everything had to do with my programming, right? Everything. I'll tell you a little background about where I come from. So, I mean, I adore my parents. I've always adored them, and they have been my biggest lessons. My parents came here from another country, completely different culture. And, for them, what was normal is obviously wasn't healthy. It was obviously unhealthy. But in their minds, like, after healing, I realized they didn't understand that. They had all their issues going on. There was physical abuse, there was alcoholism, there was drug abuse, and the effects of that. So, when you go into the psychology of that, I don't like to touch too much on psychology because yes, it does bring awareness onto what's happening in our physical world.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's elements to healing where I didn't want to hold on to those stories. And I feel like being aware, psychology helped me become aware, right? Yes. So, I was the black sheep of the family. What does that mean? The black sheep is like the one that sees things.
We're the crazy people.
Oh my gosh. They're the crazies. They're the crazies. You're the liars. You get gaslighted.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. You get, you're everyone's frustration is taken out on you.
Oh yeah.
So you can imagine all of the stories that I grew up with. And I have a sibling, I have a sister and a brother. So again, I was the black sheep. So that here I am like, well, why am I not treated the same as my siblings? Because I want to stand up and I'm calling people out like, no, Daddy, you were not supposed to do that to mom. And, mom's like, you can't disrespect your father. And I'm like, but I'm defending you.
I'm telling the truth.
I'm telling the truth. No, you're not. And then, so, oh my gosh, so much.
I can imagine. I can imagine you doing that. I can totally imagine you doing that.
Me telling everybody off, right? Oh my gosh. No, I was the one that was like, no, I was always the one that wanted to like bring justice. Like, no, this, Dad, you can't do this. So you can imagine all of that programming.
Yeah.
Coming to the surface. And yes, I did a lot of healing work, but I didn't realize how much of my programming was still affecting me, how much I was still a victim to that. Yeah. And why, once I got into, I started to do those shifts, I started working with Erin, I started to realize like, whoa, I'm still a victim. I didn't even want to be a victim. I'm not changing frequencies. We're not changing vibration. If I'm still mad at my mom, I'm still mad at my dad. And, traditional people are like, everyone processes differently. You're right. And one of the things I want to stress to people is there's no right or wrong.
Nope.
But for me, I was like, I know that story isn't helping me. That story isn't bringing me happiness. It's not making me attract love. It's not bringing money to my life. I want to let go of that. And that's where I had to see more and more and more and more. And I was like, oh,
damn.
Boom, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. I was like, I just even had a revelation about relationships last week. I was like, oh, it's like nonstop.
Yeah. That's wild. Damn, you preaching right now for real. A lot to unpack with that. So
I kept going. Sorry.
No, I love these kind of conversations. So, like, okay, for example, someone's listening, right? And they're like, okay, why am I dating? Like, for example, I'm experiencing the same person in each relationship, right? And what I try to explain to people is because you're dating your parent, right? For example, I like being transparent to show you guys know this by now. My mother wasn't emotionally available. She got that from her mother and her mother. So I know I've seen it. And because of that, I would attract partners who weren't emotionally available, and I would go after them. And I would push people away who were emotionally available because that was foreign to me. Like, ew, how dare you want me emotionally, give me what I've wanted. I'm gonna go towards a person who's not doing that. And that's so crazy when you think about it, but it makes so much sense too.
It's like, it's insane because you're like, the very thing I say I don't want, but I'm not used to it. It doesn't feel natural to my body.
Yep.
Body's been conditioned to feel want that love that I kept seeking from my mom. So now it's still doing the same thing. Like I want that love from that person that's not showing me any love. It's like, it kind of brings you back to being young, because your body's in addition to that.
It's like, why don't it goes back to like, why don't you love me? Or even like when you get rejected, right? And it's just like that feeling of, why don't you want me? Why don't you love me? Or when somebody leaves your life, or there's like something where it's abandonment. It's just like, why don't you love me? Why don't you love me? Am I not good enough? Am I not worthy enough? Why don't you love me?
And your body will take you back to that experience.
Can we dive into that too? People don't understand. Like the body, the body doesn't know present or past. It just knows what is. So when like for example, let's say you're listening to a song and that song takes you back to that place and that memory, and you get that same exact feeling. It's the same exact thing.
That's exactly what happens with the subconscious mind. So then you meet that other person and they don't call you back, right? Yep. You're already panicking. Your body's like, oh my gosh, remember that relationship that I was in where he didn't call me back? Or when you were little, dad didn't come home and mom was worrying, and you're freaking out because you feel mom's energy, but you don't know what to do with it because you're a child. You don't know how to process these things. Yep. So your body starts to remember, and it's that imprint, that programming, and the energy comes up all the time, because it keeps thinking it's there.
That's nuts. So if somebody's asking like, what are some practices that I can do to release this energy? One thing I would like first recommend, you got to address where the root is coming from. Just like how we address where that root was and became aware of it. First of all, acknowledging that you even know what's wrong. You got to give yourself like big kudos for that, because it was, shoot, I'll be 30 this year. I didn't even come into full awareness about just like, oh, I'm the reason why I'm experiencing this shit over and over again until like 5 years ago. Like literally. And you don't know what you don't know.
Because you're only 30. I'm 42.
42 and young.
Thank you. Yeah. And then whoever's listening, it's never too late, or it's never too young, right? You're never too young.
That's
so what you were saying is
go ahead.
Awareness. The crazy thing is, awareness for spiritual people like us, we get it. But there's some people out there that don't understand. They're still not at that level. And don't get it twisted, guys. We're not any better. We're all on different journeys, right?
Just a disclaimer.
No better, no worse. Mm-hmm. For the people who don't know, right? They don't know. They don't have that awareness. Number one is, like, if you're going through, let's say you're in a situation where you keep attracting the same person and you're wondering what's going on. Mm-hmm. I just was telling my daughter this. Bring it to the experience. So for example, if the guy broke up with you, you ask yourself, what does this mean to me? What does this breakup mean to me? Because if it affects you in such a way that it hurts, and that you're like it's unhealthy hurt, that means something. Your mind, your body is saying, he broke up with me and this. What is that?
Ooh, what is that? And
that, because that's what you do, and that's how we program ourselves.
I never thought about that.
Right. And then it's like, oh shit, and I'm not enough. I wasn't enough for him.
Damn.
And it's like being totally, another thing, I mean, besides that awareness, right? Or that, to awareness of that experience, being totally radically honest with yourself.
Yeah.
We gotta be honest with ourselves. There's nothing wrong with saying, like, for example, me, I remember years before my spiritual awakening, I've always been open and honest, but there were times that I wouldn't want to share, but like keeping it real, like, yo, I felt like I wasn't good enough. Yeah. Like I didn't feel pretty enough, whatever it is, right? Like, gotta be honest with yourself. Like, whatever comes up when you say that sentence, run with it. And don't even think twice about it. Like your spirit will pop up and say, boom, here it goes. This is what it is.
That makes so much sense, because there will be situations where it's like, okay, it's okay, it's reasonable to be upset, but then it's like that extra like added feeling. You don't know where that feeling is coming from, but it's that and that she was talking about. I never thought about that. That's wild.
Yeah.
And I don't feel worthy. I don't feel validated. Blah 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And then where's that coming from? Oh, childhood.
There you go. Exactly. Exactly. Like that's that first layer. Like, what does this mean to me? Then we go deep.
How cool is it though? Like it's annoying though, right? Like holding yourself accountable for all things, but it's still cool at the same time that we're able to talk ourselves through a thought and a program and to get to a better feeling place.
Absolutely. I think that the cool thing is you can see it as annoying because it can be,
Yeah.
but then again, you can see it like, damn, but I do got the answer. So
You feel me?
that's what I'm talking about. Like, yeah, like I got it. I can change this. Like, it's not tied to anybody, right? Like even you with your experience with your mom, myself with my experience with my family, it was never about them. I mean, it was about them in the sense
To an
that
extent.
where it started.
Right.
But now we're grown people, we're spiritual beings. What are we? Do we still want to play that role, or do we want to
That victim.
evolve?
But people is one, so it's one thing that's been sticking out with me recently. One thing, but it's going to tie into it. Of course, people want to hold on to the victim narrative, right? Because it feeds that pain body. So the more you become a victim, the more energetic force you're feeding that pain version of ourselves. But then two, it all a lot of people don't. A lot of people would rather be right about an experience. So, like for example, let's say, okay, my dad. Just using a hypothetical. My dad left when I was, let's say, 15, blah, blah, blah. It did this, it did that. Okay. Although he did do that, yes, he did. At a certain point, it's still up to you to correct your programming so that you're not stuck in this loop of, this happening. You have to, he probably did that because that was part of his contract in your life and vice versa. One thing that's been really prevalent, I'm kind of ranting right now. A lot of things that's been prevalent is in my understanding, it's just the notion of like these contracts. Like, for example, me and my mom said, okay, I'm gonna do this for you to help your soul expand and vice versa. It's gonna be shit, but we came here to experience. How else we're gonna experience but through these tough times. Well, some tough times.
Yeah, no, and that's a beautiful thing for you to bring up, right? Because I mean, we either resonate or we don't with people. And I know our beliefs trigger some people because they're like, well, why would I come on this earth
Yep.
to suffer?
Yep.
Listen, like at the end of the day, just like my thing is, how's your thinking right now working out for you?
It ain't working out because it don't feel good.
If you don't feel good, if you're not happy, if you don't have love, if you don't have money, there's something going on. You can stay there. You can continue to be a victim to your circumstances. You know how that feels. You know what that has given to you up until today, right? Or do you want to believe that we actually chose to come here on earth to expand, to learn lessons, to break generational curses, heal our lineage, and change the trajectory of our future generations? Like, I'm all for, like, that sounds more empowering. So, which one feels better, right? Give them that option. Like, whoever's listening to this, what feels better? Because I know I get pushback as well. Like, I don't know about you, but I get pushback when I talk about soul contracts. It triggers many people,
But it goes against, I guess it triggers the religion aspect of God in the sky and heaven and hell.
Many, even science, not science word of the mind, but like, I'm not going to even bring a bunch of other things to it, but like when people die, right?
Yeah.
Because of certain things that went on in the world. My thing is, like, you realize that people choose, we choose our lessons, we choose to leave at a certain time. We may not consciously know it as beings because
let's talk about this. I'm loving this episode.
We purposely forget, but then, and I know it hurts. Human us is hurt. Our emotions, it hurts. Spiritual us lives on.
Come on. Because I was just having this conversation with my mom. I took my mom out to lunch yesterday. I've been really enjoying like going to plays and like going out to lunch and stuff. And my stepfather had passed a couple months ago. So we was just like I guess her first time bringing it up to me, like having like that deep conversation, asking me how I felt. And I was breaking down death to her, like how I view it now. And she was like, wow, that makes sense. And I was like, oh shit. Okay. This actually made sense to you. Okay. Maybe I'm supposed to help you with your transition. losing your husband. I just thought that was like, I was like, whoa, this actually makes sense to you?
Because we're used to people pushing back, right? We're
Yeah.
used to people pushing back. My condolences to you and your mom.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
But people push back. And
That cognitive dissonance.
absolutely, it's easier to accept something they've believed for many years than the unknown, right? That
Yeah.
the unknown of, well, what happens to your spirit? But at the end of the day, none of us know when we're gonna go, right?
Nope.
But
That's the beauty of it.
it's beauty. We have to accept it. It's a part of our physical reality.
Because it's just a reminder to live every day as a gift, because it is. And then that's why, like, your main objective is to feel as good as possible, because you're wasting energy. You don't know if you're gone tomorrow. Like, I'm not about to remember. My last breath's not gonna be like, man, I was pissed about an argument before I died. Like, I'm not trying to go out like that.
Yeah, exactly. And now my guides want to step in, and
Let's go.
they want me to remind you that they're excited. They're like, yeah, that's the purpose. That we all have. The purpose is, it's like life is the playground. We come here, we have certain contracts to live, but while we're here, we have to enjoy. We have to understand that we are the creators of our reality, and our reality, we are all in tune to and connected to each other, and how we're in tune to what's going on is through our emotions, and that's what they want us to know. And by each healing the world, and they're talking about selfishness, they're saying don't think about selfishness, but they're saying at the end of the day, you have to evolve yourself in order to help others evolve. So that's one of the things that they wanted to bring up for whatever reason. And they're saying that, yes, soul contracts is a real thing, and they want us to spread that knowledge, because we are here for a reason, and every single one of us has a purpose. And even what you see in sadness is actually not sadness. It's something that they choose. Their soul chose to evolve and chose to work through, and the human mind cannot grasp that. And it's not for you to grasp. It's not for you to suffer. It's not for you to internalize that emotion. They're just like, that actually teaches you about feelings and teaches you about contrast. What's they're saying positive and what's negative. So they need the contrast to be around us for us to understand what we like versus not necessarily what we like, positive versus negative energy. And they're saying that the positive energy is the focus that they want us to bring. And they're saying it's in the joy, it's in the laughter, it's in the love that you channel that energy. And they want you to share that. They want you to spread that. So that's something that they wanted to share and speak to you about.
That is so. Oh wow, that's powerful. A lot of. Oh wow, where to even begin? I think when you can look at it from the perspective of, like, you need, like, for example, you don't know, you don't know if you wanted something if you didn't have the opposite of it. So you need that contrast in your life. Even the bad, quote unquote bad, good and bad are both subjective. If that car accident you was in stopped you from getting eaten by a shark and the car rolling over into the ocean, I'll take that car accident and express gratitude instead of being eaten by a shark. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's just interesting. Always.
Yes. No, that's a good example for you to bring up. It's kind of like also the stove, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. I heard this example in something else, but they're saying that, like, when you put your hand on the stove, it's gonna burn.
Yeah.
Right? But if you didn't have the feeling, what's gonna happen? Your skin's gonna get burnt up. So there's like, but before you touch it, you feel the hotness, right? So you know not to touch it.
Mm-hmm.
So those emotions, they're saying that contrast is like that, where they know when you touch it, it doesn't feel good. So they don't want you they want you to understand that then that's not for you. You redirect your energy, you redirect your focus. That's deep. I was like, that's a good one. I hadn't heard that one before.
Wait, you want to know what's crazy? Wow, that makes so much. So when you mention that, they want me to explain this. It reminds me of just like when your inner being, like when a thought doesn't feel good, you feel bad, right? And your inner being says, I don't agree with this because on the opposite spectrum, I'm experiencing the opposite of actually what you really want. So stop thinking that thought. Same thing with the stove example. That's freaking wild.
Exactly. You know, uh-oh, this isn't going to serve me. Let me get out of here.
Damn.
Let me understand what's going on first. Then let me get out of here. Because, you know, in that understanding, that's where that healing is. Like, okay, you're feeling this a lot, then we got some stuff to heal.
Damn, that's wild. Using examples like that, because like the being the seekers of knowledge and remembering the dormant information that we already know, um, it gets to a point where it's like you mentioned earlier, like it's only certain things human beings have the capacity to understand. Because if we really knew like the true secrets of the universe from this perspective as human beings, we would freaking go crazy. How could you physically comprehend? You couldn't. Like if I could see like my fractal selves, I would probably lose it like right now, knowing okay, Richard is living here, but in a different dimension with crystals and rocks is another. Like I would freaking go nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like there's only a certain container that we're holding here. Right. And I feel like, boom, I don't think we'll be here. I think that's when we depart. That's what I feel. It's like, boom, you've elevated. It's time to go. You've learned your lesson. Out.
You go back to the not like source, but like the other fractal source that's observing you, helping you through this experience. If you want to know something interesting, so I'm a big component in psychedelics, and I was tripping on acid a couple years ago. I had an ego death experience. Well, one of my ego death experiences, but I was in a depressed state at the time, and I was about to commit suicide. And I heard my higher self tell me, if you do this, you're gonna just come back and play this experience again. And ever since that moment, that shook me to the core. I was like, whoa, one of two things. One, you mean if I leave, I got to come back and do this experience again? That means I need to be accountable for my healing and why I'm depressed, figure out what's going on so that I don't have to come back to this thing. That's one. And then two, whose voice is this? Whose man is this talking to me right now? But after that experience, it really told me you have to be accountable for every single thing right now. You can play victim for the rest of your life and just take the easy way out, but you're just gonna come back again because your soul came in for a reason. But you're being too stubborn to feel, experience the emotions, alchemize that, transmute it into growth.
Wow. That's powerful.
That was an insane experience.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry about that. I didn't know. And
No, that was the most. Don't say sorry. I needed that.
I figured you were probably like, no, I needed
Oh
that to wake me
no.
up. That's that experience from what you're saying, from what you're sharing. It's like now it makes, well, now, you know, here we are. Well, I can only imagine all the people you're making an impact on because you hit that level of low and now you're here, right? So I feel like that's incredible. Like what you've learned and how you can help is beyond incredible.
That's why I tell people like the angels, like we are the angels. Like you have to, like we're gonna go through the harshest experiences to gain wisdom. Like for example, for example, let's say someone is coming to me and you for advice on, how to invest in stocks, and only one of us are skilled in stocks.
Yeah.
I'm going to go towards the one who is, has the experience. So when it comes to life experiences and, people coming to you for, or just wisdom, it's just like, I know your level of awareness. I know how it feels to be in that situation. Use these practical steps, change the way you think and do this, do that, so that you can shift your energy. You're stuck in an energy right now. You're stuck in a loop of thoughts that's continuing your experience that you don't even realize. Let's start there.
Yeah. I agree. I think that's what, it's crazy because we can say it, but I just feel like we're just going to magnetize that, magnetize those people to help them.
That's so powerful.
Like your past and my past, how similar but different, right?
Yep.
So yeah, that's powerful.
We were talking earlier about the importance of us feeling that we have to work hard to gain money. right? But when it should be where it feels like a blissful passion and joy, the similar way to a kid coloring a coloring book, right? When we work with our clients, it doesn't, like I was mentioning this to you, I had to look at the clock to see, like, am I even working? Because I'm having a conversation right now. We're just like that, whoa. Like at the end of this, like during this call, I'm seeing your energy shift. I'm seeing something click. I'm feeling your energy at the end of it. This means more to me than, well, let me change, be careful my my word of thoughts, because I don't know who's listening. But that means more to me than slaving away at a corporate job, making somebody else rich. That means more to me. It's more fulfilling.
It doesn't feel like work.
It doesn't.
It's a mind F, right? Because from the time we're little, we're programmed to believe who likes their job. I remember so many people telling me, because I've had so many different jobs, who likes their job? Like, that's just immature. And I'm like, no, like I really want to enjoy it. I really want to make an impact. I really want to feel good. But since we're little, we're taught to believe, no, you have to work at a 9 to 5, work at a job,
even though you're miserable,
good paying job, suck it up, and just to make money. And that's it. That's life. And then you have to save for your 401ks.
Oh yeah, don't forget that. That's really important too.
Save for your 401ks, for your retirement and whatnot. But they don't teach you to say, you got to do what you love, then make that money.
The money comes when you're following your purpose.
Do what you like, literally do what you love, and then find your purpose, like you said, or find that job that aligns to it as similar as possible, right? Because we do have some people that they're still working through their healing, where they don't even understand what they want. They don't understand what their sole purpose is. So they're sitting there, directionless in jobs, and they're just getting anything for the money. And then they're just miserable and unhappy. And I'm not knocking all 9 to 5s, because, or any job for the matter, is just what you love, right?
What you love, yeah.
Love. If you are in it and you love it, it could be hey, it could be a 9 to 5. That's cool. That's good. But what, we have a limited amount of time here on Earth, right? We want to make the best of it. The more fun.
I like the quote unquote Earth.
I know. Because I know. We're playing the game. We're playing the physical reality game. We're here, and we gotta learn how to play the game. And it's like, but you can search for a job that you enjoy and make money. Like you can, and when you believe it and you set that intention and you do the work to find that, you're gonna land it.
And it's tying that too into, like, if anybody's listening who's like, I just want to turn my business into something that's profitable and that just allows me to, it's just multiple steps. One, just you actually have to believe that it can do that, because if you could be saying one thing, but your energy is vibrating another. Universe, like, conflicting frequencies. We're going to continue showing you what you don't want. 2, script it out. What does it look like? How does it feel when you have those 4 clients book with you for the week? What, make up imaginary names in your head. Oh, Stephen King scheduled a meeting with me at Wednesday at 11 o'clock. I express gratitude for this. What does that look like? Damn, that money I got for a month, that pays for my rent. What does that look like? Those little things to put yourself in that timeline, that dimension, is fucking huge.
Oh yeah, that's actually probably the first step, because you got to know how you're going to feel and what your life is going to look like. Granted, that's going to change along the way, because
of course,
through our healing, we see we want more, or we want different. But that's that first step. That's the first step. Visualizing. That's definitely one of the most important exercises I have with my clients, where we need to visualize. What would you hear? I do NLP. So what would you see? What would you hear? What would you feel? We gotta
tap into that energy.
Gotta tap into all those energies, so you can channel that energy to take you to that level. Then the next step is, of course, this is something I kind of have an issue. I'm gonna keep it real. I have an issue with the spiritual community, where
no sis.
I'm gonna be real. Spiritual community. Listen, the universe will meet you, but you got to do the work.
You
We
come
can
on.
visualize it, but we also have to take the steps.
What's some actions looking like?
We need to take the action steps. So for example, what I do, I'll give you a little example today, what I'm doing. I'm channeling my client energy, my dream client energy, so I can do content.
I love this.
You like somebody who's a spiritual coach that's like sitting there and saying, oh, I'm going to manifest this, but they're not putting in the work to understand the business side of it. How's that going to happen? Right? You got
I see what you mean.
Take a couple steps, like, you know, because there is the masculine and the feminine. The feminine is the idea. The feminine is that will. But then it's like, all right, what steps do I need to take to take this into another level? Oh. And one of the things that my guides always tell me, and they love to bring this up, I'm going to bring it up. They talk about the skyscrapers, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody came up with the idea of the skyscraper. Mm-hmm. They wasn't just sitting there like, oh, I'm going to figure out how to build this. They had to be like, all right, well, we need to bring in we need to bring in the people, we need to bring in the workers to do this, to do that, to bring that into fruition.
Facts.
And that's something that in the spiritual community lacks, because they're just sitting, waiting for things to come into place. And no, we got to take steps.
I'll call myself out. That was me early on. I thought if I just said it out loud and I said my affirmations to myself in the mirror with no actions, it's just that person's gonna randomly knock on my door and say, "Here, Richard, here's this black Audi A7." That's not how it works. It's not how it works.
I know there's definitely some blueprints.
Like, who are you? Like, for example, if you're looking to be in finance while still being in spiritual space, who are you reaching out to? Who is in that space? Are you putting yourself in those environments? Like, for example, for me, I spend a lot of time downtown because I like to be in a certain like wealth vibration. So I'll play little games with myself. I'll go to this nice. I'll walk by. This is my ritual, because I go when I'm in the office. I'll walk by this really nice condo and I'll look up and I'll be like, wow, I left my light on. I forgot to turn it off this morning. Or if I see a random like Lamborghini, I'm like, damn, that bird shitted on my car. I got to take it to get clean after I grab this coffee. Little games like that to remind yourself, hey, I got money. Don't play with me.
I got this. I got
there. This. Easy.
I can get there. Absolutely. That's a great way to play in the field as well. Absolutely. One thing I like to add is, okay, so what would I do different? Right? Because everything you have been,
come on, you
up
preacher.
until today. So now you got to do different things.
What am I doing different? How am I moving?
Different every day. I have an alert on my project management. What are we doing different today?
Damn.
So just, you got it. The subconscious and the universe, they're brothers. Ooh. Sisters, brothers. God, I don't even know what it is, but they play hand in hand.
What are we doing differently? That's powerful.
Yes. Maybe the next step for you would be going up to them and be like, hey, can we have a coffee chat? I would love to sit down and talk about your day.
Damn. Actually, I'm gonna try that. Thank you for that suggestion, actually.
Yes, absolutely.
That's crazy. Like what a lot of, I try to get people to understand like the basics of reshifting your focus on outdated beliefs. It all starts with the subconscious mind. If it's one book I could recommend anybody just to like get started, just like to plant that seed, it's called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. If you could just grasp the concept of what you have to be the gatekeeper of your subconscious mind. If you're not the gatekeeper, then someone is hijacking your reality for you. If you can just sit with that sentence and that statement, it'll all click. Damn, I'm letting the news program me for 3 hours out the day. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that you're programming fear, because we know what the news does to us.
Facts.
So absolutely, I love that book. I'm definitely gonna look into it. I love reading about stuff like that.
I'll send you a picture what it looked like. I have that. I'll put you on some books. I know what you like now. I'll put you on some books. You mentioned one thing that you're really a focal point on your Instagram is strengthening your intuition and trusting it. For someone who's like, because we all ignore our intuition, but for someone who's like, how do I strengthen my intuition? What are just some steps that I can take?
So intuition is really fast. The moment you ask yourself a question, that first answer is usually it. The moment you start to think, that's your logical mind. Right? So for example, if you're doing something for you're debating on what reels to do. You thought of an idea, you're like, yes, I'm going to do that. But then you start going into it, you're like, oh, you know what? Should I change it? Should I do this? No, it came to you for a reason. That fast, and that's how fast you should put it together. When you start to question yourself, that's your logical mind. Our logical mind is where our ego is. Our logical mind is where our subconscious programming is. If we haven't checked our subconscious programming, our logical mind is going to be like, no, girl, remember, you are afraid of this. What are people going to say? No. Don't say that. Say this. This sounds better. No, there's no sounding better. It came to you for a reason.
Yeah.
You run with it.
That's so powerful. Because the more, look at it this way, guys, the more you, like, for example, have you ever had the situation in your lives, whoever's listening to this, where you didn't listen to that voice that said you do this, and then something happened, he's like, damn, I wish I listened to my intuition. So situations like that, if you actually did listen to it, then think of it as a momentum booster. The more that you listen to your intuition, actually do, it's like, okay, I'm gonna pump you more. You're actually now paying attention to what I've been pumping you this whole time.
Yeah. And your spirits will reward you. They love it. They're like in the back they're like in the back, like little fans.
The biggest cheerleaders.
Yes.
She finally gets it.
Yeah, we're going to give you more. We're going to give you more hits. Because we all have intuition, every single one of us. The more we start paying attention, the more we start honoring it, the more we get hits. And we're going to be like, it's like, it just starts to unfold more and more.
That's so powerful. This is a dope episode.
Thank you.
Dope episode.
I love all the ideas, all the thoughts, and everything you're bringing up is resonating.
Definitely appreciate that. I always ask this last question to my guests: what would your message be to humanity during this time?
The message to humanity would be exactly, everything is happening the way it should. Every single thing. The more accepting you are of where you are in your life right now, right this moment, giving yourself all the love and nurture in the world, and being able to enjoy this moment, be grateful of this moment, the more you release energy from the present and the more conscious you are about what's going on around you. And that's slowly, step by step, will take you to that next step.
I receive. I hope whoever this episode was meant for, it definitely helps you. This is a great, impactful episode. I will provide all links so you can book the wonderful sessions. And I hope you gain a lot of clarity from this episode. And thank you so much for taking the time to be on this podcast with me.
Thank you so much for having me on this. This was definitely fun and inspiring, and I'm sure impactful.
Hell yeah. Take care, guys. See you next Sunday.